Welcome back to N.Rajini Kiranmai YouTube channel. This video helps you to know about C program constants and the variables. So what are the constants and variables used in C? Constant refers to the fixed value. So these fixed values are also called as literals. And in C, generally we can use integer constants, floating constant, character constant and string constant. So in hierarchy, I have presented the constants are categorized into numerical constant and character constants. Under numerical constant, integer and real constants will come. And under the character constant, single character constant and string constant will come. Let us know about them. So numerical constant is made of numbers 0 to 9. So this represents integer constant. That means integer means no decimal point will be used, and you can have a sign plus or minus sign. So these integers can also be represented in decimal notation. So in the decimal notation, see for example, the number is represented as 1 to 3 or minus 3 to 1 or 0 or plus 78 or 65237. So this is a decimal integers, that is decimal notation. If say suppose if I wanted to represent the integer in octal representation, then I have to use for sure only the digits between 0 to 7. So in C, if you are representing any integer in octal notation, then the number should lead with 0. So 0, 3, 7. So this is a number represented in octal representation. So 0, 5, 5, 5, 1. This is octal representation because it is leading with 0. So 0, 0, 4, 3, 5. This is octal representation of an integer number. And we can also represent an integer in hexadecimal representation or notation. If we are using a hexadecimal notation, we have to use numbers from 0 to 9. After that, A to F alphabets. It can be capital or small letters. So this A to F is going to represent 10 and goes on up to 15. If you are representing the integer in hexadecimal representation, then it should be leaded with OX. That is preceded by OX. So if the number is preceded by OX, then this is an integer represented in hexadecimal representation. Real constant. Real constant means it will be having a decimal point number. That is a fractional part will be there. Like for example, 17.548 is a real constant. Or we can also call it as floating point constants. So the notation that we use is decimal as well as exponential notation. Say for example, 215.65 is a decimal representation of a real number. If I wanted to represent this number in exponential notation, then I have to use it in a representation of mantissa, then E, after that exponent. See here, I have used 2.1565 e to the power of 2. That is, e to the power of 2 means multiplying with 10 to the power of 2. If 10 to the power of 2 is multiplied to this number, again I am going to get 215.65. That is, decimal point numbers can also be represented in exponential notations in C. Character constant. If any character enclosed in a single code, single quotation marks, then we are going to call it as character constant. See here, capital A is enclosed between a single quotation. X and Y is also enclosed in a single quotation, though we can consider them as character constants. If say suppose if the characters more than 0 character or 0 or more characters are enclosed with a double quotation, then it is considered as a string constant. See here, computer is enclosed in a double quotations, and that is the reason why we call it as a string constant. Even here, the number 666 is enclosed between a double quotation, and hence we can also call this one as a string constant. Now let us look to the special type of character constant, that is backslash character constants, or we can also call them as escape sequence. So these constants are used for a special purposes. So another name for this backslash constant, as I said earlier, it is a escape sequence. Slash n to go for the new line. Slash t is a horizontal tab. Slash b is a backspace. Slash o is a null. Slash v is a vertical tab, and the list goes on. So they are going to be used for the special purpose. Say for example, if I wanted to display my output in a new line, then in my printf statements I can use this backslash constant slash n. Let us move to the next one. So these are all the values that we can use as a constants in C language. Now we are going to talk about how I can tell to the compiler that I am using a constant. So there are three different ways of representing it, that is symbolic constants, memory constant, and literal constant. If say suppose symbolic constant we are using in a program, then you have to use this symbolic constant in the definition section, that is hash define pi 3.141592, or hash define max 500, or hash define golden ratio 1.6. So this is a symbol, pi is a symbol, and the value assigned as a constant to that symbol is 3.14. So this is called as symbolic constant. Hash is the representation saying that this statement should be processed before processing. So we call them as preprocessor statements. Memory constant means after main, within the declaration part, we are going to say that const is a keyword, float is a data type, and I am using a variable called pi, and I am assigning the value, constant value 3.14. So pi is a variable which is going to hold the 3.14 value, that is decimal point number, and this value is a constant value throughout the program. Literal constant means we can directly use a constant wherever is needed. Say for example, when we are calculating the area of a circle, the formula for the area of a circle is pi r square. So here I am using it directly, saying that A is equal to 3.14 and using the value, constant value here, into R into R. So this usage of constant is called as literal constant. This is how we can tell to the compiler that we are using a specific constant in our program. Let us move to a variable. Variable is a data name that is used to store a data value, single value. But this value can take a different values at a different times during the execution of the program. That means the value of the variable is going to vary or get changed during the execution of the program. And the rules for declaring a variable is, for sure, they must begin with an alphabet, and the length should not be more than 8 characters. And of course, we can use uppercase and lowercase, and of course the numbers and underscore, but not the keywords or reserved words, and not even a white space is allowed when we are giving the name to a variable. Say for example, here we have used different variables, sum, avg, total, value, x. These are different variables where these variables can hold only a single value, and that value can be changed during the execution of a program. Thank you for watching.